And we are live for some Friday night fights in Chair League here in Division 2. My name is Tara Spaz, and I'm here to bring you a contest between West Coast Express on the blue team and LiT LeafGreen on the red. This is one of the last fights, one of the last matches of the week, and we'll see how this plays out. West Coast Express. West Coast Express digging a bit into the clock here, trying to figure out what they want to open up with. Maybe there's still some confusion with who's going to stand in for Zarya, because it seems that's still some technical difficulties going on through Top Drafter. But they do get the ban off for Kerrigan. Kerrigan can really mop up some of the minions that gather around the shrines themselves and can be a force to be reckoned with. And Malfurion can also just lock down heroes that have the misfortune to walk through small, confined, closed areas, of which there are several on this map for sure. So Malfurion not quite as powerful as he was prior to this Tuesday. He got a small adjustment, reducing the fire time, or increasing the amount of time it takes for his roots to fire, so he's not quite as a priority pick as he was before, but he's still very strong, and it's hard to get past the specter of how many times a player's been beaten in the last few weeks from another team who had a Malfurion. Reasonable bans. Rest of the picks are going fairly quick here. Follow the pick for West Coast Express, her ability to just dump out damage into the shrine pocket. ETC and Jaina no slouch to this map either. ETC can get in and out of harm's way really quickly and really be a large barrier from people trying to exit the fight, and Jaina can accentuate that with a big walloping of damage as well. So strong picks for both teams so far. West Coast Express with their last selection, the last set of picks before we go into the bans, and it's going to be a double tank, beefy tank at that, with Muradin and Leoric, the pickups for this, and that I don't know if that leaves them a bit exposed doing that so early in the draft, but I guess with LiT picking up ETC that early, I guess they were afraid that if they really wanted to do double tank, they better get it in before the bans come, because LiT may not have another need for one in their selection. So good awareness from West Coast Express. If that's really crucial to their plan, then now is certainly the time to do that. Brightwing going to be the ban for LiT LeafGreen, having no patience for any kind of supporting on their side. Malfurion and Brightwing, both of their bans. And Brightwing brings a different sort of danger to the game than Malfurion does. While Malfurion can ensure that you die as you're stuck in large, sprawling lawns, Brightwing can make sure that you never have the ability to fight, because you're always going to be at a level disadvantage, with Brightwing warping in at the last minute, just glomming up experience before the shrine pops. West Coast getting fairly low on time, and Tychus the priority ban from West Coast Express. If they're deep into double tank, they know that that's a hero they really have no desire to stare down on the other end of the field. So a great ban from West Coast there. Now I get to the less flashy part of the draft for some teams for sure. Both teams still lacking supports, and LiT trying to still figure out what their plan's gonna be. ETC Jaina goes into a great many teams, and Ariel certainly complements that as well. With the high burst potential from Jaina, having the crown start on her and then maybe have it switch off to some sort of sustained DPS hero like a Raynor or a Thrall or a Lunara, something like that, to really maximize the amount of energy Ariel can put out, is something that we have a high possibility of expecting here out of LiT. But still plenty of flexibility here. They've got all the bases at least addressed. It's just a matter of what they want to go strong on. And they're gonna just continue with the big damage bombs with double mage. Jaina and Li Ming gonna be responsible for the vast majority of the damage coming out of LiT LeafGreen. So I wouldn't be surprised to see their final pickup be a strong, beefy frontliner to make sure that nothing can really get to them and tear them apart. Although so far West Coast doesn't have a whole lot in their toolkit to really get in and punish that. Muradin can leap in and lock someone down briefly, but Bala alone's not going to be able to pull that off, to pull off the takedown. Rhaegar and Azmodan going to be the quick picks from West Coast Express. So with big damage comes big ancestral healing, as people have been known to say. So Rhaegar going to be very instrumental in recovering that initial wave of damage coming out of Jaina and Li Ming. And worth noting, West Coast Express does not have all that many ways to interrupt a mosh pit. I think Muradin's hammer and that may be it. I don't recall. I haven't played a bunch of Azmodan, but I don't think he has a lot of tools available to disrupt that. So it's they're gonna have to find other ways out. Maybe just relying on being spread out enough so that those mosh pits aren't as profitable as LiT would like to sort up. But Arthas is going to be the secondary guard for LiT LeafGreen. Their bodyguard for Jaina. It's a bit out of canon for sure, but you know, weird things happen in Heroes. Things don't always make sense, and we'll see just how that plays out. Good draft from both teams. I think it's gonna come out to how West Coast Express can deal with that initial damage strike from LiT LeafGreen. If they can get through that, then I think they're going to be in good shape. But that is a tall order to get through, and we'll see how it goes.
So it begins.
We'll be live here in just a moment here on Infernal Shrines, West Coast Express, and LiT LeafGreen for week, what are we, is it week 6 now? I think we're up to week 6. It's for one of the closing matches here on Friday Night Chair League. And we are live, loaded into Infernal Shrines here on Friday Night Chair League. On the red team for LiT LeafGreen, we have J-Rad on Arthas, Sidor on Ariel, Sokin on Jaina, Raven X on Li Ming, and Tebby Bear 33 on ETC. And on the blue team for West Coast Express, we've got Tyrillian on Rhaegar, Magic Turtle on Muradin, Paratrooper on Leoric, T. Wong on Bala, and Heavy Veggie on Azmodan. Gates are down, teams are rushing headlong into a collision that will shape the next about 10 to 20 seconds of their lives, and we'll see how things go as LiT LeafGreen trying to figure out where West Coast is. They really have no idea. They're throwing a couple of attacks around to bushes, and they're convinced that they were going to have a great big fight here in middle, but it doesn't seem to have come, as West Coast Express has decided to spread out and just be as safe as possible. So we're not going to have that big early game engagement here in the middle. Instead, it looks like we're going to have Azmodan and Arthas duking it out in the top lane. And I don't know if we're going to have a 3-1 perma lane here from both teams, or if we're going to see some sort of weird rotation. But so far, Jaina and Leoric are going to duke it out here in the bottom. I think that's going to be a slow grind that's not going to wind up very well for Leoric, but a nice power slide from ETC is going to put Magic Turtle in harm's way. He is going to be able to Dwarf Toss out of there, and a whole bunch of resources gone straight away. Vala has to hit the fountain in short order just to replenish her mana, which gets expended very quickly if you're very liberal with your use of abilities. But we do start to see some rotations as Ariel heads up to the top and try and give Arthas some support there. And so far, nothing too huge coming out of each team. Leoric in quite deep here against Jaina, but she'll be unable to really capitalize on that. Shrine's going to be active here in the bottom lane. Azmodan looks fairly content on hanging out at top, but no, he's going to just give Arthas about a couple step head start and is going to meet him there. West Coast Express in position already, 25% of the way to a Mortar Punisher here in bottom lane, and so far doing fairly well, absorbing a lot of damage into Leoric, into Murd, and to give the supporting cast of Azmodan, Vala, and Rhaegar a nice chance to start cleaning these up. But Leoric's at critical health, and that may be more than he can take. But no, a nice save from Rhaegar is going to escort him to safety. So Leoric is going to be out of the fight for just a moment. Magic Turtle is going to have to Dwarf Toss away, and so far still no takedowns. But LiT LeafGreen have control of the Shrine now, and they're starting to ratchet it up. Azmodan trying to slam jam as many of the minions as he can, and it looks like that's gonna be able to do it. Their lead was substantial enough that they can feel confident diving in and blowing a couple abilities just to ensure they get a couple more to finish out the 40 they need, and not allow LiT to have a reward for continuing. Good game sense from West Coast, realizing there's not a ton of resistance here in the bottom. They're going to send Leoric and Azmodan out to make sure they don't fall that far behind on experience. Instead, pulling ahead with about a full level lead here. But still no takedowns, as the Punisher does fall in the bottom of the fort. Barely standing. It's likely to fall if someone breathes on it too hard, but so far that experience isn't in West Coast's pockets. So while it's essentially gone, it's not the same as actually gone. Check in on some other lanes here. Well, maybe not. Things are slower to ratchet up here. Magic Turtle still kind of bullied back into the LiT fort. But nothing doing. He'll just take a quick break, have a tasty snack, and he'll be back in the fight. No time. Rhaegar and Arthas duking it out here in mid, just trying to glom up some experience points. And Leoric and Jaina have shifted their bout to the top lane. Somehow through rotations or reassignments, both of them have wound up on the complete different side of the map. And they seem to be doing as they were earlier. And no huge commitments from either team yet. Still playing very safe. Leoric really the only hero who's really made significant strides across the half-court line without the aid of a Punisher. But Vala and Azmodan do manage to pick up their siege camp. The next shrine should be spawning here any second now. So the timing for that may be very favorable to them, if particularly it's in the top lane. That would prevent anyone from really doing much damage to it. But no, it's going to be in mid, so LiT should be able to clean this up without much sacrifice at all. But it was worth the attempt, right? You never know. If it was in top, then that could have been very favorable for West Coast. But as it stands, it'll just it'll get cleaned up in short order. Shrine's going to be an Arcane Punisher here in the mid lane. Leoric and Jaina still a little late to the fight, but should be here in ample time. But no, Jaina's going to have to hearth back, so she's LiT is going to be missing that crucial damage for the beginning part of this fight, and they're going to be missing more than that as ETC gets taken out to the damage, just nickel and dime from West Coast Express, and he's going to be the first takedown of the game. But West Coast Express at such low health, Muradin's falling low, Leoric low, and so I don't know if West Coast can stand up to a whole lot more punishment coming out of LiT. But they do manage to hang on up, but no, Vala taken out with an orb out the back, and Li Ming just sneaking that damage in right behind Azmodan to take Vala out. Does get the resets, but not enough mana to really continue the assault, so have to go back to auto attacks for a while, and LiT have the lead. Should very easily clean up this camp. 38 minions on the board. Arcane Punisher is going to be barreling through mid, and West Coast Express will have everybody available to defend this. So I wouldn't expect to see a whole lot of damage. But oh no, Leoric just a bit far forward. The Punisher gets the jump on him in front of the towers, so they're not going to have the fort available to shoot down and contribute to the rapid demise of Mr. Cena himself. And so this is going to give LiT an opportunity to unload even more damage under the cover of this Punisher. And it's starting to really take its toll on West Coast Express. The walls are down, Muradin's health down below 50%. And that could have gotten quite a bit hairy if they, it's never advantageous to have the Punisher jump anywhere except over the wall and into range of your main defensive structure, whether it's a fort or a keep. So that was it was a bit risky there from West Coast, but it did work out. They managed to keep their building, and both teams now solidly above the level 10 mark, should be on even footing for the next big swath of this game, barring another team fight. Action here in the top lane. Rhaegar and Azmodan really putting the hurting on top lane. Arthas unable to defend just by himself, has to get some backup from Ariel. But with that, Vala comes to join the fight too, so it looks like we may have some action up here. 4v3 in favor of West Coast Express, but Vala at a bit low health. Nothing Rhaegar can't quite touch up though, and so all in all, it was dancing and posturing, but no real firm definitive action just yet. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Leoric's doing his best to keep away the Mage Sisters of Jaina and Li Ming. So far, doing an okay job. His health total's still quite high. He can afford a couple mistakes should they happen, but seems to mostly just be keeping them at bay, just keeping them from unloading damage against that bottom structure. And West Coast Express get a nice chunk of damage off on this mid wall, almost taking out both towers. Next Shrine's going to be up in the bottom lane. It's going to be a Frozen Punisher, the third of the three. And both teams solidly in position. All heroics are on the table in a couple seconds. So we should expect to see a really strong engagement here. And LiT certainly have a lot more to lose from this than West Coast does. Punisher's already ensured the destruction of their bottom fort, so if West Coast is able to secure this, it could represent a great deal of damage to their keep as well. So far, both teams kind of dancing and posturing. No big ultimates off the table yet. Syndragosa comes out to glue everybody down in place for West Coast Express. A nice Ice Ring is going to glue down 3 people as well. Teddy Bear's going to fall, but it's gonna be well received as it's a 1 for 3 in favor of LiT LeafGreen, and they managed to hang on. They managed to win this absolutely crucial Punisher that they needed to pick up, and that's That was all enabled by Syndragosa and Ring of Frost. Not sure where Mosh Pit fell into that, but it didn't seem incredibly necessary, as just preventing West Coast from being able to retreat was enough to really lock in a ton of damage and 3 takedowns. So Punisher, currently unescorted by LiT LeafGreen, should get taken down fairly quickly from the almost full complement of West Coast Express. Big freeze coming from the Punisher is going to ensure Muradin gets taken down. Rhaegar escapes with a sliver of health as well, and that's not over yet. Leoric and Vala still in a bit of peril as well, trying to finish off this Punisher to make sure it doesn't set its sights farther forward. And so West Coast Express will surrender another takedown and the bottom fort, but all in all, still a very close game. Both teams only down their first layer bottom structure. About a half to 3/4 of a level separates the two teams, and no, it's hard to say that any team really has decisive advantage just yet. LiT LeafGreen certainly in the lead, but you know, one hero out of position, one ability out of sequence, one person roaming, getting caught, and this whole game turns around. So it's still wide open. One persistent advantage that West Coast Express is going to have is the ability of Azmodan to put those generals or lieutenants in lanes where the fight's not happening. At this stage of the game, it's really advantageous to stick together in a big group to ensure you can maximize the use of your abilities and really start securing takedowns, as well as your own survival. But Azmodan can get that experience from all the way across the world, and that's not something a lot of heroes have the ability to do. So that if West Coast can play this safe, then they should be able to equalize in experience and really start to pull ahead even farther. Chases off on Jaina. She is almost going to get away, but Leoric there to wall her in. But Jaina's having none of this. Says, you know what? Who's in danger now? I'm going to drop the ring, going to drop the blizzard, and a beautiful mosh pit picking up 4 heroes on West Coast Express. Azmodan, the sole survivor, but that might have to get an asterisk because the damage is coming hot and heavy from LiT LeafGreen. A 4 for nothing. Azmodan in full retreat. He's going to be able to escape, but it's a huge momentum shift for LiT LeafGreen. They've got a full level lead, they've got a talent tier advantage, and they've got total command of the map, most importantly, for about another 15 seconds. They can do whatever they want, and they've elected to go through mid and take out the mid fort. Ryan is active in the top lane. It's going to be a Mortar Punisher, and West Coast Express have a couple tough decisions they want to make. They're under no circumstances do they want to fight down a talent tier, but the question is, for them, fortunately, they can afford a Punisher being up in the top lane. They've suffered very little structure damage here, but instead they're going to engage and just get a takedown. A beautiful wall from Leoric is going to isolate Auriel and ETC. They're going to take massive damage. Auriel's going to fall, ETC is going to fall, so a 3 for nothing. What do I know? Fighting down a talent tier, you know what? The fastest way to get that experience is through the other team's heroes. And just like that, they acquire level 16 and take command of the map. And almost certainly this Punisher here in the top lane, as the minion count starts to ratchet up to 20 or so, this will almost certainly be a Punisher for them. It's unlikely that LiT is going to be able to respond in time. And so that's one of the cool things about Leoric's Entomb is even if you don't get somebody in the chamber, like in between those two walls, it's still a wall, and preventing somebody from crossing it's almost as good as trapping somebody inside it in many cases. Punisher goes in hard on Arthas. He takes about 50% damage before all said and done, and it would be, if LiT can hold this to just heavy damage on their wall, that would be a strong win for them. see how this plays out. So far, Punisher is about a third health. Will certainly get this wall, and depending on how the next few seconds go, not a lot else. Azmodan, big dunk on a couple heroes. No one really in a position to get taken out yet. Jaina at critically low health, but West Coast Express not wishing to press their advantage. They remember all too recently how far they were behind. They have no intention of returning to there, and so they retreat to fight another day. So Cinder Ghost are the only heroic off the table right now. I take that back. Entomb's got a few seconds as well, but it'll be up when it becomes relevant. West Coast Express rotating down to set up a bush party, it looks like. No, they're going to start on this camp, but LiT is going to be quickly in position to take them out, and Muradin's going to be taking the brunt of the punishment for this. Huge ultimates going down. Mosh Pit is stunned out, but another amazing ice ring from Jaina is going to really put West Coast Express in a lot of danger here. But so far, no takedowns beyond Muradin, and in fact, they do get around and get revenge on Jaina. Leoric is in perilous health as well, but he's going to be able to escape. And for all that, it looked like it was going to be disastrous for West Coast, but they managed to hang on and hold LiT to a 1-for-1. All said and done, West Coast was able to pick up the bottom siege camp, but through all the abilities, I assume those guys just died immediately without ever really leaving home. They just they got killed twice. Is what happens. And so this is good sense from both teams. Both bruiser camps are up, and the shrine's going to be spawning here in the bottom. So both teams elect to have their bruisers just clash it out here in the middle. And Azmodan's lieutenant, if he puts it up there, might just be enough to tilt it in their favor, but we'll see how it plays out. Action here in the bottom lane. Frozen Punisher is going to be the order of the day, and this is a big deal again for both teams. Both teams have lost their fort in this lane, and so this Punisher could potentially, if the fight suffers a large number of takedowns, represent a keep as well. And the first takedown is going to be Leoric. He drops an Entomb off, but it doesn't quite catch who he wanted to catch, and he's going to fall against the damage pail of LiT LeafGreen. Muradin pops Avatar just barely enough to keep him alive. Big Ancestral on Vala is going to totally restore her health, and so far the 4v5 continues. West Coast Express hanging in there, looking for a quick pick to try to equalize this. Mosh Pit just a couple seconds off from ETC. Could have had a bunch of damage output there, but enough to keep West Coast at bay, 29-20. And despite being a man down, West Coast is not out of this yet. They only have 5 minions to go. Credit to Azmodan for picking up those minions when he can. And oh, it's so close now, 38-35. Everybody is such low health. 39, one more for West Coast is going to seal it, and they will secure it. But oh, this may be disastrous for them as that Mosh Pit catches everybody on West Coast Express. And the damage is just coming out in all shapes and forms and sizes. Rhaegar low, Ariel low, Arthas falls, and it's going to be a takedown in favor of West Coast Express as the Punisher barrels down on LiT LeafGreen. And this is the nightmare scenario. During all that camp in top managed from Azmodan's help to really push through in top. LiT LeafGreen had to retreat, is down 2 heroes, and isn't really in a great position to stop this Immortal. And ETC falls as well, so can the mages alone hold this out? Ring of Frost is up, so they do have one strong, powerful tool to really keep West Coast at bay, and it's all about, can Jaina get in position to fire this, and the answer is going to be no. Jaina's going to fall. Li Ming's going to be the sole survivor, staring as the damage train from West Coast Express comes in full force, and this is almost certainly going to be game here. So, well, real back and forth from both teams across. It seemed just as West Coast Express suffered those early takedowns, they were able to bounce back and claim an advantage, and just as quickly it disappeared. I mean, the scoreboard kind of tells it all. Both teams 11 takedowns apiece. It was even all the way through, and even going to that last that last engagement, it really came down to who could decisively win that Punisher fight. And by decisive, it's not just about claiming the Punisher. It's not just about having him push for you. It's about also crippling the other team so they're not in a great position to defend, whether that means they have to hearth back, whether that means you keep them in pursuit, whether it means you take them down. And West Coast Express really was able to pull that off in strong fashion, and I think a large credit to that was due to Asmodan. I mean, you saw he was able to pick up large buckets of minions in single shots, really kind of negating some of the slow sustained damage that you were getting from Ariel, as you were getting from Arthas. Minions at half health are like apples to be plucked from a tree, and Vala as well. I mean, they both had strong burst damage to scoop that up and pick it up. I guess one of the other things to note is that Jaina can put out a great deal of damage, and if there's tight cluster of those minions as well, you can gather those minions as well. But the other team has a great idea of when that damage is going to come, especially since Blizzard's now automatically coming in 3 layers. They can allow you to do most of the damage and just sort of scoop in at the last second to take it, particularly with Vala Multishot or some other tool at West Coast Exposal. And they had quite a few. They had Leoric Strike, they had Rhaegar's Lightning. I don't know if Muradin's Slam is really that impactful here at the shrines, but it's all the tools available. And I gotta say, it was a real back and forth match. It was really it's may have been one of the best matches I've gotten to cast this week for sure, and possibly longer than that. But credit to both teams. Unfortunately, there is only one W, and today that W is going to go to West Coast Express. Excellent job from both teams. And my name's been Terraspaz, and I'll see you in the Nexus. Y'all have a great weekend. Take care.